It was a chilly November night in Boise, Idaho, the air crisp with the scent of pine and the distant howl of a coyote, when my phone buzzed with a bank notification that turned my world inside out, a $900,000 loan in my name, a debt I never authorized had drained my savings and left me staring at an eviction notice. My younger sister, Lily, was flaunting a lavish penthouse on Instagram, sipping champagne and outfits bought with my money, while my parents begged me to stay silent to shield her. Now I'm crashing on a friend's sagging couch, my resolve hardening as I prepared to sue them all. What would you do if your own flesh and blood betrayed you like this? I'm Harper Mills, 28, a freelance graphic designer navigating the burgeoning tech scene in Boise, Idaho. My life is a delicate balance, $48,000 a year. A cozy one-bedroom apartment near the Greenbelt with a view of the Boise River's gentle flow and a 2015 Subaru Outback I scored used for $7,500 after months of saving. I've always been the reliable one in our family, the daughter who paid off her $25,000 student loans from Boise State by 26 with late-night design gigs, maintained a credit score of 760 through careful budgeting, and sent Dad a six-pack of local pay-it brewing company IPA every Father's Day. Growing up in a modest split-level home in Meridian, a quiet suburb 15 minutes west of Boise, our childhood was marked by simple joys: Dad grilling burgers on the 4th of July, Mom tending her tomato garden, the hum of cicadas in the summer dusk. I was the introspective kid, sketching logos on scrap paper in my cluttered bedroom, while my younger sister, Lily, 25, commanded the spotlight. Lily was the family darling homecoming queen at Meridian High, her laughter filling the hallways, a natural at piano recitals where her delicate fingers danced over the keys, and Mom's little princess who could melt any punishment with a smile. Dad coached her soccer team, framing her MVP trophies on the mantle, while my straight a report. Cards gathered dust in a drawer. She had that effortless charm, the kind that got her out of grounding for sneaking out or borrowed my $200 savings for a Taylor Swift concert ticket when we were teens. After high school, Lily flitted through ventures, dropping out of community college after one semester, trying her hand as an Instagram influencer with sponsored posts for local boutiques, then waitressing at a trendy Boise bistro called The Mode. Nothing stopped, but she always landed on her feet, her optimism a shield. 3 years ago, Lily showed up at my apartment, her blonde hair damp from a sudden rain, her eyes red-rimmed as she clutched a Starbucks cup. "Harper, I need your help," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm launching a boutique event, planning business weddings, corporate galas, the works. Banks won't touch me with my credit, but yours is flawless. Can I use your name for the paperwork? Just $30,000. I promise I'll pay it back in a year, maybe less if the first gig takes off." She leaned forward, her hands clasped, her blue eyes glistening with that familiar plea that had worked since we were kids. She was my sister, the one I'd shared secrets with under the covers during thunderstorms. I trusted her. So I signed. The form she slid across my kitchen table, a stack of legal jargon I skimmed but didn't question, thinking it was a small risk for family. She hugged me, her lavender perfume enveloping me, and called me her hero. She swore she'd handle every detail, painting a picture of elegant menus and clinking glasses. I didn't dwell on it after that. Lily had a history of rebounding after. The influencer gig fizzled. She waitressed with a smile that earned big tips. I was buried in work, designing branding for startups like a local app developer and a craft brewery, meeting clients at Flying M Coffee House with its eclectic vibe, and dodging Idaho's icy roads on my bike. Life chugged along, the Boise foothills, a constant backdrop until last month, when the foundation cracked beneath me. It began with a call from my landlord. Mrs. Hargrove, a no-nonsense widow in her 60s who owned the building and smoked unfiltered Camels on the stoop. "Harper, you're 3 months behind on rent," she said, her voice raspy over the wine. I laughed, incredulous. "That's impossible. I paid $1,100 on the first. Check your books." But when I opened my Bank of Idaho app, my account was locked, a red "fraud detected" banner glaring back. My debit card was declined at Albertsons, where I'd been grabbing groceries, kale, apples, a loaf of sourdough, my weekly ritual. My credit card, a $12,000 limit I kept for emergencies, was maxed at $25,000 with charges I didn't recognize. Designer dresses, hotel stays, a catering bill. Then the eviction notice arrived, slipped under my door with a 30-day deadline, citing unpaid debts tied to my name, the paper trembling in my hands. I spent 4 agonizing hours on the phone with the bank, my fingers numb as I navigated. Their endless menu, the hold music, a tinny rendition of Sweet Home Alabama, driving me to the edge. A rep finally connected, her voice monotone. "Ms. Mills, we show a $900,000 loan in your name. Originated 10 months ago with Idaho Credit Union for an event planning enterprise." My stomach dropped, a cold sweat breaking out. I demanded documents, my voice rising, and after a heated exchange, they emailed a PDF. The loan funded a sleek penthouse in downtown Boise, complete with a rooftop deck and a fleet of luxury vans branded Mills Events, all under Lily Mills' ownership. The signature on the dotted line was a sloppy imitation of mine. The loops and strokes off kilter. I'd never seen those papers. Never authorized dissent. I sank onto my secondhand sofa, a thrift store find with a faded floral pattern, the eviction. Notice crumpling in my grip, and opened Instagram. Lily's profile was a glossy highlight reel. There she was, posing in a penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Boise skyline, captioned, "Living my dream." Hashtag event queen, hashtag success story. Another post showed her at a gala, toasting with champagne in a sequined gown, tagged, "at Mills Events HQ." The latest story featured her in a designer dress, filmed yesterday at a charity ball for local nonprofits, her laughter echoing as she mingled with Boise's elite. She was thriving off my loan, while I faced a barrage of calls from collectors demanding payments on a debt that could bury me for decades. My savings, $5,000 painstakingly saved, wiped out. I drove to my parents' house in Meridian, a 20-minute trip down I-84 that felt like a march through a nightmare. Their split-level home loomed familiar, faded beige siding weathered by Idaho winters, a sagging mailbox with Mills and peeling letters, the garden where Mom grew tomatoes now overgrown, with weeds. Inside, Dad was tinkering with a model train set in the basement, the faint chug of a tiny locomotive filling the air, while Mom knitted a scarf by the fireplace, the click of needles a steady rhythm. I didn't ease into it. I threw the eviction, notice, loan papers, and bank statements onto the coffee table, the pages scattering like fallen leaves. "Lily did this," I said, my voice breaking with a mix of rage and disbelief. "She used my name for a $900,000 loan. I'm being evicted because of her." Mom's needles froze mid-stitch, the yarn dangling like a noose. Dad set down his screwdriver, his eyes fixed on the train tracks, avoiding mine. The silence was a suffocating blanket. Finally, Mom spoke, her voice shaky but firm. "She didn't mean it, Harper. Lily's just passionate about her dreams. It's a mistake." "A mistake?" I shouted, my voice bouncing off the wood-paneled walls, the sound sharp enough to startle the cat sleeping by the hearth. "She stole my identity. I'm sleeping on a friend's couch, Mom. I've got debt collectors calling every hour for a loan I didn't take." Dad finally looked up, his face a mask of stern resolve, his graying hair catching the firelight. Lower your voice, Harper. Lily's your sister. She'll fix it. Just don't rock the boat. We can work this out as a family. I felt like I'd been sucker punched, the air knocked from my lungs. They knew. They'd known for months. Lily had invited them to her penthouse opening last spring. A lavish affair with catered sliders from a local food truck and a jazz band playing smooth tunes. They'd toured the rooftop deck with its hot tub, admired the marble kitchen with its double ovens, and sipped Pinot Noir with her clients, a mix of Boise, socialites, and business owners, all while I was hunched over my Wacom tablet, designing Logos, oblivious to the theft of my future. They'd even met her business partner, Trent, a slick 30-something with a man bun and a penchant for braggadocio, who boasted about their upcoming New Year's Eve gala at the Boise Center. Why? Didn't you tell me? I demanded, tears welling up, my voice cracking as I gripped the edge of the table. Mom twisted her scarf, her gaze dropping to the floor, the fire casting shadows on her face. We didn't want to upset you, honey, she murmured, her fingers knotting the yarn. Lily promised she'd repay it. She said you were okay with it, that it was a family investment. Okay with it? I laughed, the sound bitter and hollow echoing in the quiet room. I'm evicted. My credit's ruined. She's racked up $60,000 in credit cards for designer dresses, a Seattle trip, and a catering van. Dad shook his head, his jaw tight, his hands clenching the train controls. Family stays united, Harper. Don't betray her. She's your blood, and we'll get through this together. I stormed out the door, slamming with a force that rattled. The windows, the cold night air hitting me like a slap. Back in Mia's car, parked in their driveway, I scrolled through Lily's Instagram again, each post a fresh wound. She was in Seattle now, posting from a luxury hotel overlooking Puget Sound. Her stories a montage of city views, cocktails with umbrellas, and hashtags like #BossLady and #LivingMyBestLife. While I ate instant ramen on a borrowed couch, my sister lived a fairy tale built on my dime, with my parents as silent accomplices. I called Lily that night, my hands trembling as I sat in Mia's driveway, the Subaru's heater barely warming the cab. She answered on the third ring, her voice bright with the clink of glasses and laughter in the background. Harper, what's up, sis? Don't act innocent, I snapped, my voice shaking with a mix of fury and hurt. I know about the loan, the credit cards, the penthouse. You used my name, Lily. I'm homeless because of you. She sighed, a long, exaggerated breath, like I was overreacting about a spilled latte. Relax, Harper. It's just business. The company's about to explode. I'll refinance when the next contract comes through. No big deal. No big deal. I yelled, my voice rising, the sound bouncing off the car's interior. You forged my signature. You took out $900,000 in my name. I'm evicted, Lily. I'm living on a friend's couch. God, you're so dramatic, she said, her tone turning cold, the background noise fading as if she'd stepped into a quieter room. Mom and Dad said you'd understand. Just keep quiet, okay? For the family. Don't ruin this for me. I hung up, my heart pounding so hard it felt like a drumbeat in my chest. That's when the trap snapped shut. I was ensnared, the jaws of family loyalty clamping down. My parents were on her side, pleading with me not to go to the police because it would destroy Lily's reputation and bring shame on the Mills name. They offered their guest room, a cramped space with a twin bed and a view of the neighbor's shed, as if that could erase the $900,000 albatross around my neck. If I exposed her, I'd be the one shattering the family's fragile unity. I'd be the villain, the selfish sister who couldn't let it go. In their eyes, Lily was the dreamer and I was the problem, but I wasn't going to let her win. The betrayal ignited a fire in me, a resolve to fight back, even if it meant burning every bridge I'd ever known. I'd take them all down if I had to. The week that followed was a relentless test of survival. Evicted from my apartment, my belongings clothes, stuffed into garbage bags, sketch pads tied with rubber bands. A photo album of childhood Christmases were crammed into the Subaru's trunk. I crashed on Maya's couch, a lumpy relic in her cluttered Boise apartment near Boise State University. The springs creaking under me. My phone rang nonstop with calls from collection agencies. Their robotic voices, a relentless drone demanding payments. I couldn't make $5,000 minimums on credit cards I'd never touched. My freelance work faltered. Clients like a local brewery and a vegan cafe dropped me when I missed deadlines. My focus shattered by the chaos. I sought refuge at the Boise Public Library, a modern glass structure with views of the foothills, using their free Wi-Fi to dive into research on identity, theft, and loan fraud. I learned that Lily's actions were felonies under Idaho law: identity theft, Idaho Code Section 183126, and forgery, Idaho Code Section 183601, punishable by up to 7 years in prison and fines up to $50,000. But proving it required a mountain of evidence: loan documents, signatures, any shred of her deception. I requested records from Bank of Idaho, Idaho Credit Union, and the 3 major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian. TransUnion my inbox, soon a chaotic dump of PDFs that I pored over late into the night. The library silenced my only companion. I found a pro bono lawyer, Alina Ortiz, through a legal aid clinic downtown, a squat brick building near the Capitol with a faded sign. She was 40, with sharp brown eyes and a desk buried under case files, her coffee mug chipped but perpetually full. "Your sister committed serious fraud," she said, her voice steady as she reviewed the loan papers I'd printed, her finger tracing the forged signature. "We can sue her civilly for damages, but it'll take time, possibly 2 years. The bigger hurdle is you're still liable for the loan unless we prove you didn't sign. We'll need a forensic handwriting analysis and bank records to build a case." Elena guided me through filing a police report at the Boise PD, a sterile station with buzzing fluorescent lights and the faint smell of burnt coffee. The officer, a tired man named Officer Dunn, with a graying mustache and a paunch, took my statement with a skeptical frown. "Family cases are a mess," he said, sipping from a styrofoam cup, his badge glinting under the light. "You sure you want to press this? It's your sister?" I nodded, my resolve hardening despite the knot in my stomach. I wasn't backing down, not when my life was at stake. I dug deeper, my laptop screen glowing in the library's quiet corners, the hum of the HVAC a distant drone. The loan application was a web of lies. It claimed I earned $180,000 annually as a creative director at a fictitious firm, Mills Creative Solutions, with a Boise address that traced to an abandoned strip mall. The signature was a crude forgery, the loops and strokes mismatched, likely traced from an old lease I'd signed for my apartment, or a check I'd endorsed for Lily's business expenses years ago. I also uncovered 3 credit cards in my name: Chase Sapphire, American Express Gold, and Capital One Venture, with $60,000 in charges. A $15,000 designer gown from Nordstrom, a $5,000 Seattle trip with Trent, a $10,000 catering van lease, and a $20,000 down payment on a sound system for the penthouse. Each discovery was a stab, a testament to how deeply Lily had plunged the knife into my back. Then Elena dropped a bombshell during a late-night call, her voice crackling through my phone as I sat on Mia's couch, the TV muted in the background. She'd subpoenaed Lily's business records through a contact at the Ada County prosecutor's office and found a trail of smaller loans she'd taken in my name over 4 years. $8,000 for a failed pop-up wedding fair, $12,000 to cover a bounced check from her influencer days. all paid off just enough to keep me in the dark. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment grab. It was a calculated scheme, honed over time with my parents' tacit approval. I felt like I'd been living with strangers, my trust exploited with cold. Precision, my family a facade I'd never questioned. I couldn't face this solitary war. My friend Maya, a 27-year-old nurse at St. Luke's with a warm smile and a knack for listening, noticed my hollow eyes and slumped shoulders. We'd met at a Boise co-op yoga class years ago, bonding over our love of craft beer and hiking the Boise foothills. "Harper, you're a wreck," she said one evening, handing me a mug of chamomile tea as we sat on her worn-out sectional, the apartment filled with the scent of her lavender diffuser. I broke down, spilling the loan, the eviction, Lily's betrayal, my voice cracking over the clink of her spoon stirring honey. She didn't hesitate. "Crash here as long as you need," she offered, her hazel eyes steady. "It's just a fold-out couch, but it's yours." Mia's apartment was a cozy chaos in a Boise apartment complex near Boise State University. The walls adorned with her nursing school diplomas and photos from our hiking trips, the coffee table littered with medical journals and a half-knitted scarf. Her fold-out couch was lumpy, the springs creaking under me, but it was a sanctuary. She fed me leftovers tacos from a food truck on Fairview Avenue, homemade chili with cornbread and blasted indie folk from her Bluetooth speaker to drown out the collection agency calls. Her presence was a lifeline, her laughter a reminder. Of the life I was fighting to reclaim, Mia introduced me to her boyfriend, Lucas, a 29-year-old paralegal at a mid-sized law firm near the Idaho State Capitol. Lucas was lanky, with a scruffy beard and a quiet intensity, his desk a chaos of legal pads and coffee stains from late nights. He wasn't a lawyer, but he knew the system and offered to help organize my evidence. "Your sister's a con artist," he said, flipping through the loan documents. His brow furrowed as he highlighted discrepancies. "We'll build a case that sticks." He spent evenings with me, cross-referencing records, drafting timelines. His legal jargon a foreign language I was starting to grasp. His patience a gift. With Elena, Mia, and Lucas in my corner, I felt a flicker of hope, a fragile but growing support network amidst the wreckage. Lucas tracked down emails between Lily and the loan broker, hinting at a premeditated plan, while Mia kept my spirits up with late-night talks about our next hike, her optimism a beacon. For the first time, I had allies, people who saw me not the family burden I'd been cast as. I needed to confront Lily face to face, to see the truth in her eyes and demand accountability. I drove to her penthouse in downtown Boise, a 30-minute trip through snowy streets, my Subaru's wipers battling flurries. The building was a modern glass tower, its lobby a shrine of marble and chrome, a far cry from the modest homes of our youth. I took the elevator to the 12th floor, my heart pounding, and knocked. Lily answered in a silk robe, a glass of rose in hand, her blonde hair swept into a perfect bun. The penthouse behind her, a tableau of luxury marble floors, a chandelier, casting prisms, a grand piano she'd never played. "Harper?" She blinked, caught off guard, the glass trembling slightly. "What are you doing here?" "I'm taking my life back," I said, stepping inside without invitation, my boots tracking snow onto her pristine floor. The air smelled of expensive candles, a contrast to the ramen-scented despair of Mia's couch. I laid out the evidence on her kitchen island police report, forged loan application, texts where she admitted borrowing my name papers spreading like a map of her deceit. Her face shifted from surprise to panic, the rose sloshing. As she set it down, "You can't do this," she stammered, her voice rising. "You'll ruin everything. Mom and Dad will hate you forever." "They're already on your side," I said, my voice steady despite the fury simmering beneath. "But I'm done protecting you. Transfer the penthouse to my name, pay off the credit card debt, or face criminal charges. Your choice. She laughed, a nervous, high-pitched bark that echoed off the walls. You won't do it, Harper. You're too good for that. I stared her down, then turned and walked out, the door clicking shut behind me with a finality that echoed in my chest. That night, I called Elena and told her to move forward with the civil suit. We filed the next day, requesting a freeze on Lily's assets and damages for the financial ruin she'd caused. I also sent the police the evidence, including a screenshot of her text. Just keep quiet, okay? For the family. It was as close to a confession as I'd get, a digital noose around her neck. The legal fight was a slow, bleeding battle. Lily's lawyer, a polished man named Victor with a tailored suit and a smug grin, tried to spin the narrative, claiming I'd consented to the loan as a family investment to support her entrepreneurial spirit. It was absurd. A twisting of reality that made my stomach turn, but it stung to hear my parents back her up in their depositions, taken in a sterile conference room at the Ada County Courthouse. Harper's always been jealous of Lily, Mom said under oath, her voice trembling, her hands twisting a tissue into a knot. She agreed to help, but changed her mind when it got hard. Dad nodded, his eyes avoiding mine across the table. His silence a louder betrayal than her words, but the evidence was an unassailable wall. The forensic handwriting expert, a meticulous woman named Dr. Laura Chen with a PhD from the University of Idaho, testified that the signatures were forgeries, the ink patterns and pressure points mismatched with my known samples. Lily's texts were a smoking gun, her casual admissions a digital trail of guilt. The judge, a stern figure named Judge Hargis with a gavel that cracked like a gunshot, froze Lily's assets, including the penthouse and vans, meaning she couldn't sell or borrow against them. For the first time, Lily was the one sweating, her Instagram posts dwindling to cryptic quotes about resilience. She called me late one night, her voice breaking through static as I sat on Mia's couch, the TV muted on a rerun of The Office. "Harper, please," she begged, the bravado gone, replaced by a sob. "I'll lose everything, the penthouse, the business, Trent. Just drop the suit and I'll make it right, I swear." I hung up, my hand trembling, the weight of her plea mixing with my resolve, a bitter taste in my mouth. Then came the twist that nearly shattered me. My parents, desperate to save Lily, offered their $80,000 retirement savings to pay off the $60,000 credit card debt if I dropped the suit. They sat me down at their kitchen table, the same one where we'd carved pumpkins as kids, the air thick with the scent of Mom's lingering cookies. "Lily's our daughter," Dad said, his voice heavy, his eyes red-rimmed from sleepless nights. "We can't lose her to prison. She's still young, she can recover." I stared at them, my throat tight, the words lodging like stones. "What? About me?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper, the pain raw. "I'm your daughter, too. I'm living on Mia's couch because of her, my credit in ruins, my life stolen." Mom started crying, her hands covering her face, the tissue shredding. Under her fingers. "We'll help you too, Harper. Just don't do this. Don't tear the family apart." It was the hardest moment of my life. I loved them, Dad's gruff bear hugs, Mom's lullabies on stormy nights, the shared laughter over board games, but their loyalty to Lily felt like a second betrayal, a preference etched into their souls. I refused their offer, my voice firm despite the tears threatening to spill. "She needs to face the consequences. And so do you for enabling her." The civil suit dragged on for months, each hearing a battlefield of paperwork and emotions. Elena was a warrior presenting the forged loan applications, the incriminating texts, and Dr. Chun's testimony with a precision that left no room for doubt. Victor fought back, calling character witnesses Lily's high school coach, a bistro, co-worker painting her as a misguided dreamer with a heart of gold. The courtroom, with its high ceilings and oak benches polished to a sheen, became a stage for our family's unraveling, the gallery filled with curious locals and a few reporters from the Idaho Statesman, their pens scratching notes. The deposition phase was grueling. Lily, under oath, admitted to borrowing my identity temporarily to secure the loan, her voice faltering as she claimed it was for the family's future. Trent testified, his man bun quivering, that he had urged her to expand aggressively, implicating himself in the scheme. My parents' testimony was the hardest. Mom's tearful insistence that I'd volunteered my credit. Dad's stoic nod, both avoiding my gaze. I took the stand, my voice steady as I recounted the betrayal, the eviction, the sleepless nights. The gallery's silence, a heavy cloak dot in May. After a tense deliberation, Judge Hargis ruled in my favor. The penthouse was ordered transferred to my name to cover damages, and Lily faced criminal charges for identity theft and fraud. The credit card companies, prodded by Elena, began the process of clearing the debts from my record. But my credit score, once a point of pride at 760, had plummeted to 450, a wound that would take years to heal. The victory was bittersweet, a hollow triumph over the family I'd lost. Lily didn't take it well. She showed up at Mia's apartment one night, banging on the door, her face streaked with mascara, her designer coat askew. "You're destroying me," she screamed, her voice carrying down the hall, waking Mia's neighbors. "How could you do this to your own sister?" I stood my ground, Mia and Lucas flanking me, their presence a shield. "You did this too. Yourself, Lily. You stole everything." She left, hurling a final, venomous, "You'll regret this." Her figure vanishing into the Boise desk. I'm standing in the penthouse, keys in my hand, the city lights twinkling through the floor-to-ceiling windows. It's September now, nearly a year since the eviction notice that upended my life. The place's stunning marble floors, a chef's kitchen with stainless steel appliances, a rooftop deck with a hot tub that steams in the cool air. But it doesn't feel like a win. Every corner is haunted by Lily's betrayal, the chandelier she chose, the piano she posed by, the vanity where she preened for Instagram. My parents haven't spoken to me since the ruling. Mom sent a single text on June 1st. "We love you, but we need space to heal." Dad's silence is a chasm. Lily's out on bail, awaiting her criminal trial. Her Instagram a shadow of its former glory, cryptic posts about starting over and selfies with Trent at a dive bar. Captioned #new beginnings. I blocked her, but not before seeing her latest. A photo of her packing a suitcase, tagged #fresh start. I single quotes my still on Mia's couch. Rebuilding my freelance business, my laptop a lifeline as I land gigs with a startup in the Boise Research Center. The penthouse is mine, but I'm selling it. $1.1 million. Enough to pay off the loan residue, cover legal fees, and start over. Part of me wants to keep it, to reclaim what Lily stole, to transform it into a studio with my designs on the walls. But the memories are too heavy, each room a reminder of the trust I lost. I envision a small condo near the Greenbelt, a fresh slate, maybe a rescue dog to fill the silence. I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Nguyen, a soft-spoken woman with a practice in the Boise Bench area, her office lined with potted ferns and a view of the foothills. "You're grieving more than alone," she said in our first session, her voice calm over the rustle of her notepad. "You're grieving the family you thought you had." She's right. I miss Dad's gruff laughter at the dinner table, Mom's lullabies during snowstorms, even Lily's piano tunes that once filled our home. But I can't go back. I'm learning to forgive myself for trusting her, for not checking my credit sooner. Dr. Nguyen calls it reclaiming your narrative, setting boundaries, saying no, putting myself first. It's a slow climb, like hiking Table Rock on a foggy day, but I'm moving forward. Mia and Lucas have become my family. We've painted the apartment together, her nursing scrubs mingling with his legal briefs, their laughter a balm. Lucas helped me file for a credit repair loan through a local credit union, a small step toward stability. I'm designing again. My inbox pinging with Hope logos for a Boise coffee roaster, a website for a Meridian gym, each project, a brick in my new foundation. Mia and Lucas have become my family. We've painted the apartment together, her nursing scrubs mingling with his legal briefs, their laughter a balm. Lucas helped me file for a credit repair loan through a local credit union, a small step toward stability. I'm designing again, my inbox pinging with Hope logos for a Boise coffee roaster, a website for a Meridian gym, each project a brick in my new foundation. Looking back, I see the signs I missed. Lily's charm was a weapon, her tears a tactic. I should have questioned that $30,000 loan, monitor of my credit, seen through her promises. My parents' blind loyalty cut deeper than the theft, choosing the Lily's dreams over my survival. Their silence a complicity that broke me. But from those shards, I'm building something new. The $900,000 wasn't the worst part. It was their betrayal that forged my resolve. I'm suing them all, not just for justice, but for freedom. What would you do? Keep the penthouse, sell it, or seek revenge? Drop your thoughts below. Like if you're Team Harper, follow for more family drama and share to spread the word.